today's video, I am sharing how to dress like Emily in Paris, in particular, how to do so for less. I recently binged on season 2 and it was such eye candy, and even though the acting is questionable, the plotline, everything, I've seen all the reviews, I couldn't help but be inspired. According to many blogs, there was many designers vying for product placement on the show, including bags. In the season 2, we were able to get a little preview as to what's coming for trends in 2022 and what's going to be really hot. Hello, I'm Ziva Lennox. If you haven't subscribed before, let's become friends in 2022. I'm so excited to share so many fashion and styling videos with you, and we'll get right to it. The ironic part about the style of Emily in Paris is that Emily herself is very much not dressing in a Parisian, French chic style way. Like, she's going away from all the tenets that make up beautiful French styling, like simplicity, quality over quantity, timeless pieces that just work together and no logos, like all of that. This beautiful French classic dressing is not really there, probably just to magnify the fact that she's an American in Paris. Also loved Camille's total wardrobe. Almost every single outfit that she had was just, she was embodying the French style of more like classic pieces with that one statement, but just overall such beautiful style. The number one thing to do when wanting to dress like Emily in Paris is hats. There's hats in almost all of the outfits. Hats just make you look like you know what you're doing style-wise. For some reason, if somebody's wearing a hat, it's very impressive. It's like, wow, they were able to kind of like grab a hat while they're walking out the door and kind of pull the whole outfit together. My resolution for last fall in particular, was to wear more hats, and I have been wearing them, and I just get so many compliments. I feel like I look more put together, and it does mess up my hair, which is why I didn't wear hats that much to begin with. I feel like the minute I take them off, I have to deal with what's underneath. I live in a really cool place in upstate New York that it just works out for me to wear hats again. You see Emily wearing a lot of hats with all of her outfits, including one that looks almost exactly like this. It's a checkered black and white hat. It's probably not from H&M like mine is. I covered this one in my last H&M haul, so make sure to check it out. I'll put the link below. The sky's the limit in hats, whether it's fedoras or bucket hats or berets, she wears them all. Number 2, pattern mixing. Usually pattern mixing kind of tells the world, I know what I'm doing. This is very street style. I have a video dedicated to how to do pattern and print mixing. Take your outfits to the next level, so make sure to check that out. Emily does this a lot. Sometimes almost too much. Like, there was times where I was looking at her and I just could not get it in my brain, like what she was trying to do. On the other hand, there were some times where that print and pattern mixing were just spot on. So it just depends, like, how daring you want to be. If you want to be photographed by a street style photographer, then maybe go to the extreme. But I kind of like a healthy middle. I really love mixing up stripes, polka dots, paisley, tartan with maybe some polka dots, or leopard print with basically anything. I think it looks so chic. But that is one of the things that she uses time and time again. The problem with pattern mixing is that if you take it too extreme and too colorful, I look a little bit young and kind of like Clueless, like the movie Clueless. Number 3, and how to dress like Emily in Paris, is a bright bag. And that is actually a trend that has been identified by all the major magazines, is a bright bag. Bright bags are the thing for 2022. So it's time to put away your black. I have so many. By the way, really quickly, I'm sorry I'm still sitting here with a half empty closet. I just got back from my holiday, and so like I haven't had the willpower to really hunker down and do my closet, but that's coming soon. So getting back to it, you want to put away all those muted, beautiful neutral bags and maybe just start with some nice bright bag. I have shown you guys a couple of the JW Pei bags that are very affordable, usually under $100. They're small, they're very bright, they are very designer inspired as well. They're vegan leather, and so that's kind of a great way to start. If you're not really sold on like the latest Balenciaga or Balmain for like, you know, $3,000. I love the idea of a beautiful pop of color bag, because if you don't like color, and I tend to be very color shy, really my happy place where I feel the best is in all black or all camel or all cream. Like, I love those neutral colors, and so for me, pops of color, while I do them outside of my comfort zone. So if you're like me and you much rather be in an all neutral outfit, then having that bright bag might just be the best way for you to just start experimenting with color and kind of stretching out your fashion wings this year. The fourth thing to keep in mind when dressing like Emily in Paris is bows, ruffles, and sequins. So she wears them all, sometimes all at once. And sequins is one of those things that I have a love-hate relationship with. I love how it looks, it photographs so well, it's a showstopper. You're definitely the belle of the ball if you're wearing sequins. However, it always gets caught in my hair. If you have long hair, I don't know if you can relate to this, like you just always get pulled down by the sequins. Those things where when I do wear sequins, I like to have my hair up, so it's just kind of a little consideration if you have longer hair. Ruffles and bows. I like ruffles more than bows. Bows can be a little tough for me. I feel like they can be just a little bit too girlish. Brands like Love Shack Fancy have really made bows very relevant. If you love bows and you kind of love bows as a kid, then hey, Emily wore that big fat bow for her birthday. I kind of understood what was happening there because I actually saw this one dress on Millen, which it was a very similar dress. It was an LBD. It was like this big ruffle thing that was off the shoulder. When I first saw it come on the screen, I'm like, I kind of know this dress, but it wasn't that dress. I think Millen's is way better. It might still be in stock. I'll link it below. But this one was just that, like I'm a present, you know? And then the problem with that bow is that it started to kind of like droop a little bit, and then it kind of made her chest look droopy. So I wasn't a fan of that. In terms of ruffles, there was that beautiful red dress that just looks very kind of like Spanish, you know, that little emoticon person that's like, you know, kicking on our phone. I love that dress, so classic and timeless, and also very attention grabbing. I felt more sophisticated and trying to be showy for the sake of it. One of the purple dresses she wore, I think in the first episode, I have rented one from Rent the Runway, and it was almost exactly the same thing, except mine was just a one shoulder dress. I'll pop it up on the screen and I'll also link it below because it is available for purchase and also for renting. Such a great deal. I think that's why I love Rent the Runway. I have a whole video dedicated to a review for it. So in case you want to play around with your style and get these bright pieces before you commit, you can always just try it for a couple of months, rent a few clothes, and then be done with it. So have a code so you can get, I think it's 45% off 8-piece a month plan. So I'll pop that discount code as well. The fifth way to dress like Emily in Paris is blazers. Blazers are another thing that have been identified as being a top trend for 2022, in particular, smaller, tailored, more cropped blazers. So I think last season we saw a lot of those big, supersized boyfriend blazers, and now they're kind of shrinking and it looks like you stole your little brother's blazer or your son's. That's why I never throw things away. I just know that they're gonna come back. Brands and fashion editors just kind of switch it up on us, so we have to keep buying. So it pays off to just hang on to your stuff and keep those big, huge boyfriend sweaters as well. Because by the way, another big trend for 2022 is actually voluminous silhouette. You name it, volume is in. A thing that Emily utilizes a lot to kind of polish up an otherwise like super girly or feminine look, particularly in her job at Sauve Bois. You know, it can be a very colorful and fitted and girly dress, and then she pops on that blazer and it just adds a whole different structure element. Blazers are such a classic layer, and in this instance, I think that playing around with that and kind of treating it like that colorful handbag, so taking a risk on a pattern or a color, is just a really fun way to take that Emily in Paris look to the next level and have it be fun and functional as well, because most of us are pretty cold out here right now. So that blazer just adds an extra layer of insulation. Number 6 on how to dress like Emily in Paris. So this girl wears a ton of heels. She reminds me of Carrie Bradshaw, where she's just like hobbling along like Peg Bundy on cobblestone streets. So it's like even worse than Carrie, because Carrie was just doing that in New York City. Cobblestone streets are like a little less prevalent than in Paris. But I just see her and I'm like, this is just flat out not true. Like, there's no way. There's just no way. Still really interesting to see all that beautiful footwear that I don't even wear anymore. I have a couple of heels back there that I've already put on the shelves that I literally just wear when I go out to dinner, and then I'm dropped off at the door and then I'm picked back up. And that's basically it. However, it does always make the look so sophisticated and nice and elongated, like especially if you're wearing a mini dress or even pants and jeans. I love the look of a nice heel with it. And Emily does a beautiful job of just showing us so many different types of heels that are really fun and colorful. Kind of same thing, if you have those heels from pre-2020, when everything happened, I'm not gonna say it on here, I feel like I can't even say it out loud, then pull them back out and just, you know, hobble away in your hat, your little bag, and your cropped printed blazer. The seventh way to dress like Emily in Paris is not really a thing or an item. It's really more of like a vibe. The thing with Emily in Paris is the vibe is always kind of like a naive optimism. And like, there's no sense of irony in the stuff that she's wearing. Like, it's a little bit ridiculous. She's kind of doing like not such a great job sometimes, like messing up right and left, but there's like no irony in the way that she's presenting herself. And that is ultimately what looks like confidence to me. So I think if you can impart anything from Emily is like, she's just naively confident and optimistic, which is so huge, taking more risks in our fashion and then therefore in our lives. And then everything just gets better if you feel that confidence. It's like one of the tips that I really like to use when I'm not feeling super confident. I'll just walk really big and move really big, take up more space. And that kind of body language and that confidence that you're like strutting really strong leads to your brain, oh, like given Zima's body movement, she must be confident, therefore we must be confident. And so it's kind of like a chicken and egg thing, like faking it until you make it. Slowly you believe it, and there's no sense of irony, there's no like bashfulness. Like even if she shows up to work looking like an Easter basket, like she's there, she's smiling, she's working hard. Go Emily. Wrap up and take a little glimpse of Camille's looks and outfits and kind of style. A bit more classically French, the color palette, the shapes, just the functionality, it's just a lot more timeless. I'm sure it's very deliberate to have like the American and the French girl on screen and kind of like they're both really stylish but very blatant. My favorite Camille looks are actually Emily's birthday party look, where she is wearing like a two-piece set and those over-the-knee boots, and you know, she like finds the pan and she's really upset. I thought she looked so beautiful then. And I also really loved her dress where she goes to Saint Tropez, like Versace like, but it's still like very timeless because she just looks superb. And I think she's beautiful as well. It's great to have a show about women, even if it might be ridiculous, and then to have it just to be inspiring fashion-wise is always a treat. I hope you had fun with me today. If you did, make sure to give me a thumbs up, and I hope to see you really soon. Happy 2022.